Good afternoon, dear students. Today we shall take up the next part in the deadlock. In the previous class, I had discussed regarding the deadlock definition, various states of the deadlock, and then what are the different situations wherein deadlock occurs, other things. And at the very beginning of the deadlock part, we already discussed the deadlock prevention strategy. Now, in previous class, I discussed with deadlock recovery is another important aspect. In the deadlock recovery, we already talked about this, what we call it as an banker's algorithm, wherein how it effectively allocating the resources in a particular sequence helps in avoiding the deadlock. That is another thing on which we already talked. So in the previous class, morely I focused on a safety algorithm, wherein the request, at what extent it can be fulfilled, it is already discussed, and then resource request algorithm I already talked along with the data structures, which where any additional resources if requested, how that situation is handled through algorithmically. Now we will explore the situation of solving the problem, where if a particular case the problem is mentioned, then how deadlock recovery algorithm, how deadlock avoidance algorithm will help from not entering system into a deadlock state. Now first we shall talk about the checking whether the system is in deadlock, and followed by a resource request algorithm. Now we will take up the problem. Consider a system with 5 processes P0 to P5, 3 resource type called as an ABC, are 3 different types of the resources. With A resource type has a 10 instances, B resource type has 5 instances, and C resource has an 7 instances are available at a time T0. The following is the system snapshot taken. So we have different matrices which we already talked about. Allocation is a one matrix, maximum is another matrix, available is another matrix, need is another matrix. So what is allocation? System at a given point time T0. What is an allocation? How many resources of each type of resources along with number of instances are allocated to different processes. Say for example, what it matrix says here is process P0 here is being allocated with 0 instances of A resources, 1 instance of B resources, 0 instance of the C resources. Similarly, process P1 is allocated with 2 instances of A resource, 0 instance of B resource, and then 0 instance of the C resource in the same way. Now what is this maximum? Maximum is nothing but it is a request, maximum request it has made. So process P0 has made 7 instances of resource type A, 5 instances of resource type B, and 3 instances of resource type C as a maximum it has asked for. Similarly, P1 has also made a maximum request of 3 instances of resource type A, 2 instances of resource type B, and then another 2 instances of resource type C. It has made a maximum request. But what is available now here is only 3, 3, 2. 3 instances of resource type A are available with the system, 3 instances of resource type B are available with the system, and then 2 instances of the resource type of the C are available. Now after maximum request and after some amount of allocation, difference between maximum and allocation is need of that particular process. Now how it works here is 7 instances of A are maximum requested by process P0, but however how many allocated is 0. So 7 minus 0 is 7. Still P0 is needed with the 7 instances of resource type A. Then 5 is a maximum requested by process P0 only. I am talking about P0. And then, but however how much is allocated is it is already allocated with only 1. So 5 minus 1 is what is still need is 4. Similarly, 3 instances of C resource are requested by process P0, but how much is allocated is 0. So need is 3. Similarly, for P2 maximum requested is 3, allocated is 2, how much is needed is 1, and 2 maximum request of instance type B 0 allocated, so 2. So we are subtracting maximum minus allocation for each instance type for each process, where we get this particular matrix called as a need matrix. So I hope you are clear with the allocation. Allocation and maximum are already given along with the need. So first, to solve the problem, we have to determine the need matrix, and after that need matrix, now we will try to apply the algorithm called as the safety algorithm. So here in this particular case, we will try to find out the safety algorithm implementation. Say first we will start up with the process P0. For P0, see need is how much? 743. 743 is a need, And what is the availability? Availability is clearly mentioned in the problem only, that is 332. So 743 is a need for this particular process P naught to finish off its job, but what is available with the system is 332. So need is greater than the available, so it cannot execute it. So here we have already checked it. Need is less than work. Work is nothing but here it is an available only. Work is equals to available. If the need is less than work, then we will proceed with the execution. If need is greater than the work, you cannot proceed with the work. So we go with the next process for evaluation. Now here in the next process evaluation, we will try to check for P1. See, what is the need of the P1? P1 is 122. What is available? 332. Yes, we can proceed with the execution. So need is 122, available is 332. So need is less than available. So what is the next if it works well? So work equal to work plus allocation. See here, it is work equal to work plus allocation. That is safety algorithm. Work, if it is less than, need is less than work, then work equal to work plus allocation, then finish off I. So we will apply work equal to work plus 1 here. What we do here is available, so work equal to work plus 1. What is available now? 332 is available. 332 work equal to available. So 332 plus what is an allocation? What allocation is already made? 200. So 332 plus 200, whatever is been already allocated, we will get it back because we are finishing off the work. So 332 is added with the what we call it as an 200 here. So 3 plus 2 5, 3 plus 0 3, and 2 plus 0 2. So new availability will be 532. Fine. Now we will proceed with the next process, what we call it as an P2 now. P0 could not execute, P1 is executed, and with the new availability of 532, we will check for the P2. What is the need of the P2? Please check. Need of the P2 is 600. 6 instances of A resource type is required, but no instances of BC are required, but it requires only one resource type A of 6 instances. Now we shall check whether those 6 are available here. See, availability is only 5, is it not? Availability is only 5, 3 2, but that 3 2 is not required. Agreed. But what is required here is for A, it requires 6 instances, but for A, available is only 5, so it cannot execute, it will proceed next. Now after P2, we will go to the next process as P3. We shall check P3. What is the P3 need now? P3 is 011. What is the need is 011. So it is easily fulfillable because availability is 532, need is 011. So now check what is an allocation for P3 is 211. So 211 is added with the 532. So new availability will be 5 plus 2 7, 3 plus 1 4, and then 2 plus 1 is equals to 3. So this is the new availability, that is 743. Again we proceed with the P4. There is a next process in this particular cycle. What is its need now? 431. What is availability now? Availability is 743. See, 743 is available, 431 is need. So we shall proceed with the execution. So 022 is its allocation. So 0 plus 7 is 7, 0 plus 4 is 4, 2 plus 3 is 5 now. So new availability is 745. Now again we shall come after P4, again we shall come to the P0 now. Now what happens in P0 is, what is available, what is the need of P0 is 743. 743 is need, but what is available is 745. I agree, 745 is available. 743 is need, but 7 instances of process, 7 instances of resource type A is available, it is required 7 instances. 4 instances of resource type P2, resource type R2 is required, is available. But what happens here is, it may enter into unsafe state. Not sure it will enter into deadlock state, but it may enter into the unsafe state. So again we shall check for the another process which is still to be executed, that is what we call it as an P2 now. Now we shall check for the P2. So P2 need is here 122, which we have not executed. So again we come to the P2 122. So need is 122. So what is allocation for P2 here is, P2's allocation is 302. So now what we try to do is 302 is added with the availability, that is 745. So what we will get is 7 plus 3 is 10, 4 plus 0 is 4, and then 5 plus 2 is 7. So new availability is 1047. So with that 1047, certainly we can fulfill the new need of the P2, that is 600. So 743, which is what we call which is less than the need 600, so which is executed. So it's added, so we'll get 10 5 7. So new requirement for this particular watch process, which we call it as an P2. So that is been done. So safety sequence is first P1, order of execution, whatever executed, P1, P3, P4, P2 and P0. That is how in that particular order we have executed. So I hope this problem is very clear, dear students. So that makes more sensible to understand the problem of the what we call it as an safety sequence generation. And now we shall proceed with the next concept, what we call it as a deadlock detection. Now whenever we have to detect the occurrence of the deadlock, consider this particular diagram. What is the diagram says here is this rectangle indicates the resources and circle indicate the processes. So what does it mean here is resource R1 is held by process P2, but P2 is requesting the resource R5, which is held by process P3, so which is requested by again process P2. So now what this diagram is effectively saying here is rectangles, I repeat, rectangles indicating the resources, circle indicating the processes. Now this arrow, resource R1 is held by process P2 and process P2 is requesting for resource R4, which is held by process P3. P3 is now holding resource R3, R4 and it is now requesting for resource R5. So with that all together we will be drawing this particular resource allocation graph. It will be more clear. See, P1 is requesting for the resource which is held by P2. See, where is the P1? P1 is requesting for the resource that is held by R2, sorry, P2, is it not? P1 is requesting for R1 which is held by P2. P1 arrow P2. Now P2 is requesting for resource held by P5. That is what arrow mean. See here, P2 is requesting for what we call it as an resource R3, which is held by P5. So in this way, this resource request graph is generated. But this graph says this graph is called as an wait for graph. This graph shows that there is a cycle and system is in the effectively unsafe state, but not necessarily deadlock, because all processes should form what we call it as an cycle. The P5 process is not in the cycle, hence the system is certainly in unsafe state but not in a deadlock state. That you should keep in your mind. All unsafe states are not deadlock state, but certainly deadlock states are unsafe states. Now finally, coming to this end part of this particular deadlock concept is recovery from the deadlock. How we can recover from deadlock errors? Process termination. What we try to do here is here system reclaims all the resources allocated to the processes are being terminated, and then that is what we do here is about all deadlocked processes. All processes which are involved in the deadlock, all are being terminated, stopped execution, and then recover, break the cycle and then recover. That is the one aspect of recovering from deadlock, that is process termination. Next here is the resource preemption. Next option from recovering deadlock here is another way is recover resource preemption. To eliminate deadlock, preempt successively one by one some of the resources from the sum of the processes, so that until deadlock cycle is broken. That is another way. That is, here all processes are terminated, but here only one by one we are trying to preempt the resources, so that until deadlock is been broken, then process of execution continue. Another thing here is, here to execute this we have to preempt the resources from the particular. Here what we do here is, in the process termination all will be suddenly recovered, broken. All resources allocated to all the processes are recovered by terminating itself. But here we are not terminating all process, we are terminating only one process at a time. That is by preempting the resources allocated to a particular process. Now what happens here is, while selecting to preempt the resource, we have to select the victim process. Select the victim process for the preemption with some minimum cost, and there is something what we call it as a rollback. So dear friends, so with that we wind up the concept of the deadlock chapter, wherein first we defined the deadlock, then we gone for the 4 different states of the deadlock, then we talked about the handling of this deadlock, wherein the deadlock prevention was the first case, then Banker's algorithm, which explained the concept of deadlock avoidance, by ensuring the safety sequence. Then third was deadlock detection, and fourth was the deadlock recovery. Thank you. So in the next class we shall talk about the memory management. Okay, thank you.